Prime Minister Andrew Holness is warning Jamaicans to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols throughout the Yuletide season. This as the government hopes to return the country closer to normalcy in January. Arguing that some citizens are of the view that COVID-19 is no longer a serious threat, Mr. Holness pointed to the new Omicron COVID-19 variant, which has been described as being more infectious than the other variants of the virus. Mr. Holness was speaking during the handing over of 19 medical oxygen concentrators to the health sector on Thursday. For the Yuletide season, the government has reduced the nightly curfew hours, which will run from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. the following day. On Christmas Eve as well as New Year's Eve, the curfew hours will start at 1 a.m. In other news tonight, the Ministry of Health and Wellness reported 37 new cases of COVID-19 yesterday, increasing the total of confirmed cases reported on the island since the start of the pandemic to 92,089. In the meantime, 3 more deaths were reported, increasing the death toll from the virus now to 2,449. The latest deaths are a 48-year-old male from Kingston and St. Andrew, a 78-year-old male from St. Mary, and an 81-year-old female from St. Mary. The deaths occurred between December 16 and 18, 2021. Now, of the newly reported cases, there were 21 females and 16 males, ranging in age from 1 to 82 years. In tonight's COVID-19 update, Kingston and St. Andrew recorded 8 cases, St. James recorded 15 cases, St. Anne recorded 6 cases, Hanover, St. Catherine, and Trelawney recorded 2 cases each, while Clarendon and St. Elizabeth recorded 1 case each. The island also recorded 143 additional recoveries, increasing the total of recovered persons now to 64,004. Still tonight, the COVID-19 digital vaccination cards, which were to be made available to the public today, have been delayed due to technical difficulties. The Ministry of Health and Wellness made the announcement in a press release earlier today. However, the ministry said it is working to resolve the technical difficulties. The Health Ministry also apologized for any inconveniences caused and said the public will be kept updated on the developments. Last week, the Ministry of Health and Wellness advised that the digital vax cards will be accessible to the public via vaccert.moh.gov.jm as of today, December 20. Now, this means that persons who have received their COVID-19 shots should be able to download their vaccination verification cards from the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website as proof that they have received the jab. The digital cards are expected to bring Jamaica in line with global COVID-19 vaccination standards. And as we continue with the news, 5 days into the winter tourist season, Jamaica is already seeing impressive visitor arrivals. Tourism Minister EDMUND Bartlett said that some 25,000 passengers made their way through the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James over the past 3 days. He said that the sector has not seen these arrival numbers since 2019 and that this is absolutely phenomenal, especially during a pandemic. Since Friday, there have been more than 159 flights into Montego Bay alone. Saturday's 9,153 arrivals from the 62 flights is the biggest single-day record since the airports were reopened on June 15 last year. Yesterday, there were some 52 flights on record. Meanwhile, Chief Strategist in the Tourism Ministry, Delano Seavright, said Jamaica's cruise numbers will see an exponential increase in early 2022 when the Western Caribbean route is fully opened. He said Jamaica shares the same itinerary route with Grand Cayman, which is still closed. 2 men were fatally shot by unknown assailants yesterday on Water Lane in Kingston. The dead men have been identified as 32-year-old Carlington Williams of Barry Street and 30-year-old Mario Myers of Stephen Street, both in Kingston CSO. Reports from the Kingston Central Police are that at approximately 9:30 a.m., both men were walking along the roadway when armed men alighted from a motor car and opened gunfire, hitting them several times. The police were summoned and the injured men taken to hospital, where they were pronounced dead upon arrival. The People's National Party caretaker for the Central Kingston Division, Imani Duncan Price, says this crime and violence has to stop.
Unfortunately, two young men in the area of South Side, near to South Camp Road, were gunned down on Sunday morning. Horrifically. Multiple bullets and shots. These young men, early 20s, late teens, the circumstances are not clear as to why they were gunned down, but it really shook the communities around, because we've had a good run of some stability and peace after having multiple talks with different community members, talking about the need to have a break for Christmas time to just ease the fear in the communities. And what happened yesterday, in talking to the father, Lloyd, who lost his third son yesterday to the bullets, it's just painful, very painful at this time in Christmas to lose somebody like this. And no matter what the circumstances, too many of our young men are dying to the bullets. And we have to truly get to the root problems, the root causes of what causes this kind of violence and murder and mayhem, and deal with it. Because it doesn't just hurt the men who die or their immediate families, but it really wreaks havoc and causes just palpable fear in the lives of children and women and men throughout. And so my heart goes out to the communities.
Mrs. Duncan Price also explained that she has been calling for more policing to be done in the area as a means to stem the crime and violence.
So I have been calling for what we call saturation policing since early January of this year, because there are just dynamics of underlying gangs and so forth that are wreaking havoc at different levels, at different points throughout central Kingston. And while it doesn't solve the problem in the long term, it's important to try and maintain some stability and peace in the short term to give people a break. Which is why I called for a ZOSO several times earlier this year, and the ZOSO is about not cutting off people's rights, meaning that they can't just get locked up randomly and held for all like a year, but it allows for the government to put in JDF and police to actually increase the security forces on the ground, so people who are law-abiding feel more free, because the gunmen just can't roam as freely as they want to. This type of killing, drive-by and just multiple shots and murders, or somebody coming out and raining gunshots in the air to try and threaten people, is a common thing in central Kingston. It still is common even after all these SOEs. So you need consistent policing to try and hold the ground while you put in the social interventions, the social workers, the transformation programs, the housing development programs to change the face and the underlying structures of these communities and give people a chance to work and live and earn an honest living.
One resident who spoke with our news team has also called on the police to do more to safeguard the residents, especially the children.
I was washing my car and when I heard the shots, and someone told me it was Mario and Black Bottle. So when I went up there, I saw them laying down flat on the ground dead. So I don't know what's going on between these gang rival, but a full time now it stopped, because we have a lot of kids growing in the community and we can't feel safe as parents knowing that our kids or anything could happen to our kids at any time. So for right now, the police need to do something about the crime. Try and do something. I can't say you guys can do something or say, yo, stop the crime, but try to make an effort or push out a foot for make you feel safe, because it are going for a while now and we need it to stop. I cannot say or tell these guys what to do because they are their own people, but all I want is for the crime to just to stop, because the kids, they are not safe. They are not safe, none at all. I just got my daughter, and right now I don't know what to do because at any moment anything can happen. Is it? So the crime and violence just need to stop. Most definitely the community needs some more policing. Yeah, most definitely. You guys can come through, not every day, but any other day. Come see to it that the community is going fine. Yeah? Just to come and check around and just try and do something.